3. And welcome back to America Fest. Mike Church here, the KingDude here live at America Fest at the Phoenix Convention Center. This is TPUSA's big annual convention, and we have been bringing you interviews all afternoon, all day, with so many people from so many different walks of life, and so many different talents, and so many different fields and vocations. Just talked to Steve, the Hulk, MAGA Hulk. Did you see MAGA Hulk? You were standing there waiting.
Watching, yeah. It was great.
And now Bryan Farre is here from Parler. Most people, Brian, are going to go like, wait a minute. Parler's gone. Parler is dead. Well, Parler kind of died, but somebody did some chest compressions on it and has brought it back to life. But it's not just a social media app anymore, as I understand it. It's now doing all like 3 or 4 different things. One of them is blockchaining, in which I was telling Brian I don't understand it, which is why I never did it. So, Brian, first of all, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Parler. Talk a little bit about Parler and how and why it's back. I understand it was just purchased or recently.
Yep. Me and my partners acquired Parler about 1.5 years ago. We have historically been in the cloud business, so we own and operate a global cloud. And we decided very, very early on last year that we wanted to acquire Parler and put it back up on our cloud so that it can never be canceled again.
Okay.
20 million voices silenced, right? And that's just not right. I was telling you earlier, I've been in the tech space for a really long time. And in 2002, I was involved in a project that we were a little bit too early. It was the first social network ever built, actually. It was called GatherRound.com. And I gave a speech. We were way too early.
I've been connected now. You're talking to someone that had a CompuServe account.
Oh, nice.
Okay?
Nice.
I had a Prodigy account.
Yep.
I know the early. Been around the internet for a while.
Yep.
I don't remember that one.
No, it kind of, we were too early. In fact, I gave a speech at a conference in 2002. And I talked about how in the coming years, big tech would control all of our personal data, and they would have it controlled in such a way that they could manipulate us. And I was made fun of. Everybody said, nobody's going to do that. And then a couple years later, Facebook came along. And today, Facebook tracks 25,000 data points on all of their users. And they use AI to create what they call a digital twin. And that's how they target you. That's how, you know how you're talking about something, the next day you see an ad on social media?
It doesn't even take a day now.
Yeah,
the next
to 5 minutes.
5 minutes now.
Yeah. That's because of these algorithms, these AI algorithms that track and use your data, and they're using it against us. You know, if you look at what happened in the 2020 election, we could talk all day about what happened there, but the reality is Facebook and TikTok and these big tech companies took control of the conversation. They shadow banned people. They banned people. They banned Trump from Twitter. So our group, our team...
They banned you?
Yeah.
Parler was
completely,
basically canceled.
Yeah, canceled. Literally just with the turn of a switch, right? And so when our partnership decided to acquire Parler, we decided to flip the business model upside down, and we do that with blockchain. Now, most people don't know what blockchain is. They don't really understand it. When they say blockchain, they think of Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, which saying that blockchain was created for crypto, it would be like saying the internet was created for email, right?
You were telling me before we went on that blockchain goes back to the 60s.
Yes, the first...
Can you explain?
Yeah, so the first concept of a blockchain was actually created by a student at Stanford University in, I think it was 1963.
That's incredible.
The internet was created in 1968, so it came before the internet. And it was called, back then, it was called a Merkle tree, named after him, the scientist that created it.
I think I remember reading about the Merkle tree somewhere in my travels.
Yeah, so the concept of blockchain is really quite simple. It is that instead of centralizing data into a single database, You decentralize it across multiple databases, right? But you do it all simultaneously, and you do it with a private key, a cryptographic key.
Right.
Now, in the world of social media, even companies like Amazon, they collect, your behavioral data, and they monetize that, right? Now, I don't know about you, but I have never gotten a check from Facebook for all the data.
I must have missed
used.
it.
Yeah.
Did you, watching at home, ever get a check from Facebook?
Right. And so what we decided is we're going to flip the business model upside down, and we're not going to make it about taking people's data. So what we do is we broadcast the user. If you're a user on Parler and you say, yes, you can sell my data, we sell your data, but you get the money.
Oh, what a novel concept.
Yeah. Like, you own your data, you control your experience, and what that does is it turns Parler into a permission-based system instead of a permissionless system.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
You flipped it.
That's right. Flip the model upside down, and I'll tell you a little backstory. In 2019, my wife passed away in her sleep.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And in the aftermath of that, it was determined that what happened was she was being treated by two different physicians for completely non-life-threatening things, but they had given her a lethal combination of drugs. And the reason they did is because they weren't sharing data with each other. They were in different medical systems. And this is a great example of where blockchain can solve the problem, because you don't own your health records. The medical systems do. So if we can move all of the medical records off and put them on a blockchain, we can solve some of these problems. And quite frankly, in the future, 10 years from now, if I come back to your show, everything's going to be on blockchain. This is where it's all going.
So I didn't understand blockchain because the guy that explained it to me, maybe he didn't explain it well, was like, well, your data is out there, but it's not really in a specific place. You didn't upload it to Apple's cloud. You didn't put it on the Adobe Creative Cloud or whatever, which, by the way, sucks. Don't give Adobe any money. Buy DaVinci Resolve. There are tools that are alternates to Adobe. Put those creeps out of business. Yes, I said that. You agree?
Yeah.
I don't like what some of these companies have done. And by the way, Adobe didn't notify. They didn't notify anyone that they were killing the cloud. They just killed it.
Right.
And one day you go like, well, how come I'm dragging files over to my Creative Cloud and it stopped? First of all, the whole thing was a scam because your hard drive was the Creative Cloud.
That's right.
They're going like, why do I keep getting error messages that my drive is full? I save nothing. I save everything on the cloud. So disingenuous and so many other things. Okay. I didn't understand that you were depositing data in different locations.
Correct.
So you have to have the key to unlock basically the combination to then reassemble it. Now, when I tried it, this was back in 2018, I went to BitChute. Somebody's like, you could be the greatest star in all of BitChute. I tried it. BitChute did not work. Didn't work very well. It did not stream the video that it said it was going to. Just didn't do very much. You guys are supposedly now, and I don't mean to say supposedly, soon, you're going to start live streaming on Parler. You'll be able to live stream live.
Correct.
Tell me how that's going to work.
Well, so remember I said that we've been in the cloud business for forever. So we control all the hardware all the way out to the edge. So we'll be able to offer streaming as well as anybody else because we own our own cloud.
Okay. Most people don't know that the largest cloud company streaming company service in the world is what they call AWS, Amazon Web Services. It's a monstrosity. They must have literally millions of boxes as servers. Amazon put a company, well, they didn't put them out of business, but they drove them almost out of Akamai. Yeah. Back in the day, Akamai was the streaming. My question to you is this: when does Parler relaunch?
It
has relaunched.
Correct.
So you can go and get the app.
Yes.
Okay, that's question one. Question two, and this is not, don't you little rats out there going, rat me out to Elon. I'm just going to say something, and I'm going to write it in a letter, and I'm going to send it to him.
Okay.
Unless you've already crossed the threshold on X above 150,000, 250,000, whatever the number is, where you can start getting 5 million impressions a month and earning. Unless you've already crossed it, and you probably got there by buying users and by bots. No one is ever going to cross that unless they give it to him. I have been organically trying to build my Twitter audience up, and I have built it. 700 people in a year to add to my 19,000. Right. It's impossible. I have a great radio show. I have a great TV show. It has nothing to do with the talent of the show or anything. It's not possible to enter into that earning model at X. And
correct.
A lot of people are going to figure this out, Brian. They're going to figure it out. Will I be able to live stream on Parler? Can I get in the ground floor?
Absolutely. Yep, and there's another app that we've just finished. We announced here at AmFest called Play TV.
Okay.
So it's the replacement for YouTube, and built in it there is Burst, which is the replacement for.
I saw that.
Yeah, for TikTok. So
I saw that.
Video. Yeah. And the difference is on all of those platforms. If you go and read their terms and conditions, when you post this content on YouTube, they own it. You don't own the content anymore.
Except I delete my videos the same day.
Right. So on Play TV and on Parler, you own the content, and when that content is monetized, you make the money. You don't need 5 million followers to make money on Play TV. You need to post.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I will. So YouTube, like I can stream to YouTube using Wirecast.
Yes.
You would have to. I probably won't be able to get to your. I don't know if it will it have what they call, and this is going to get kind of geeky, an RTMP server.
Yes.
Well, then I can stream it.
Okay. Yeah, and we're working right now on a studio app where you can actually edit and do all of the things that you do on YouTube Studio.
Why are you doing all this, Bryan Farre? You could lose your mind. You could. In 4 years, they can pull the rug out from under you all over again. It's a tremendous risk. The guy that is the richest man in the world that owns the biggest platform now for us righties and what have you. Zuckerberg seems to have the rest, and of course ABC has YouTube and all that. Massive competition. Why are you doing this?
Well, because we fundamentally believe in the principles of free speech and free expression. And we believe also that the conversations that people are having are not nearly as divisive as what these media companies want you to believe. And so we want to give the voice back to the people. Mm-hmm. And we also believe that decentralization is what makes true freedom possible. The reason that Mark Zuckerberg takes all your data and sells it is not because he's evil. It's because he's doing his fiduciary responsibility to make more money for his shareholders. And anytime you have a centralized company, that's what the result's going to be.
So I don't know. You seem like a very smart guy, very intelligent, but very well read. I don't know if you ever read E.F. Schumacher's "Small is Beautiful."
Yes.
And my friend Kirkpatrick Sale's "Human Scale." You're talking about human scale.
That's right.
And I just love the conversation about human scale because government comes down to scale.
Yes.
The federal government's out of scale. You can't. They can repair some of it, okay, and they will, but it's still out of scale. You're talking about scale. Those companies are so big that's completely out of scale.
Right. Yeah, and the interesting thing too is I think we Americans tend to think that we're the only ones that care about free speech, and the reality is everywhere cares about free speech.
Yeah.
And Parler is bigger overseas than it is in America.
Okay.
So think about that. They shut Parler down for American political reasons, and they silenced the voices of millions of people around the world.
Me, I was on it.
Yeah, who could care less about American politics? So that was, in my view, a really, really destructive thing, and I'm proud to bring it back.
Bryan Farre of Parler. So people use now. Are you once again available in the app stores? Because
yes.
You got kicked out of both of them.
Yeah, we didn't get kicked out. Amazon turned it off, and so they wouldn't work anymore.
Okay, so we can get Parler on Google Play.
Yep.
And the iTunes Store or Apple Store.
Correct.
Parler.
Correct.
Okay, so I'm going to be your first big live streaming video guy.
I love it.
I'll give you content 3 hours a day. If I can make that RTMP work, hell, I'll do it right now.
All right.
I'll turn you loose on the computer.
I'll get my engineers with you, and we'll make make that happen.
Will you do that for me?
I will for sure.
Bryan Farre.
Very
so
nice
excited for you guys.
Thank you.
And excited for the future of Parler and social media.
Appreciate you.
All right.
All right, man.
Folks, I'm not going to send you back to the studio. Could you turn us off for just a second? Because I have no, the audio. There you go. Thank you, Bryan. That's it. Okay. We are back live here. Didn't even take a break with the. How does it feel to have somebody say your name, the one and only Jacob Chansley?
You know, that's what women call me.
You had to tell the people. Okay, first of all, let's walk through a couple of things. This man is a veteran of the United States Navy, correct?
That's correct.
Honorably discharged.
No, general discharge.
General discharge.
Under honorable conditions.
Under honorable conditions. You served your country. You went to 010621, this is to beat the YouTube censors. You went to 010621 because you were a patriot. You showed up in red, white, and blue patriot colors. How in the world did they ever spin the Jacob Chansley story into what they did?
Because they needed it to create their narrative. They needed to create the illusion that the violence and the chaos that took place outside the building on January 6th also took place inside, because it didn't. So they had to create the illusion that it did. And they used my image as a shocking image in combination with the shocking images of violence outside the building. And they used my image inside the building to create the illusion that the chaos outside manifested inside.
You're a patriot, Paul Stanley. You're a patriot, Gene Simmons. You've taken over the look. People are no longer going to be thinking of face painting and thinking of Kiss. They're going to be thinking of Jacob Chansley. You know what? I've been doing radio for 32 years. Theater of the mind, right? So to give people the theater of the mind, because they're listening to me mostly, they're not watching me all the time. My nickname for you was half-naked, bearskin, Viking horn rim hat man. And I think it kind of fit, but people knew immediately who I was talking about.
Right.
So how did you? Every Marvel comic has a great origin story. Give us the origin story of the look. Come on now.
I've been dressing this way for over 10 years.
Okay.
Long story short, I prayed on how it is that I could help solve the world's problems and help save the world. And God said, this is what I need you to do. Put on some horns and some face paint, go out and walk around in Phoenix and talk to people. And I said, what? And it's like, well, in shamanism, they wear the horns, the face paint, they dress in an elaborate fashion to shock the cognitive system. It's also to chase away evil spirits, but it's also to shock the cognitive system. And they do that to give the people of the tribe a cognitive dissonance, so that when their mind is opened, the shaman can then plant the seeds of understanding regarding the notion that culture is an illusion.
Okay.
It's not reality. It's not the world as it is for itself. It's as you're perceiving it. And so the shaman works diligently to view reality objectively.
Okay.
And so the horns and the face paint, it's not just about driving away evil spirits or shocking the cognitive system. It's also about helping people to transcend the illusion of appearance.
The amazing thing to me about this is you are here at a conference with about 20,000 people. I have seen personally in the last 30 minutes, no less than 50 people stop to have their photograph taken with you.
Yes.
How does that feel?
You know what's funny about it? Is that if people in the higher ups of like the Republican Party or some conservative movements, Turning Point, if these people actually like listened to the will of the people and saw this, then they would not be so apprehensive about taking a picture with me or even just talking to me. I don't care about, in all honesty, I don't give a shit about taking pictures with people. Sorry about the language. I don't care about people getting pictures with these idols that people look up to. I just want to talk to them, but they won't even talk to me. So I would rather have the love of the people than the love of these other people any day of the week. And so I'm glad that they love me so much.
When you say God said go out and do this, what? Go out and what? Tell them to love their country again?
No, it was more so about getting them to understand that there's very real solutions to our problems.
Okay.
And we could all benefit from these solutions being implemented, and that's why they're not being implemented. So if we can raise awareness about these solutions, then they're more likely to be implemented.
You mentioned that some of the elites or the higher echelons. Tucker Carlson talked to you. As a matter of fact, Tucker Carlson is the one that aired the video that showed our friend here, the gentle Jacob. As I was calling him, like, this guy's he's a creep up. Those cops were taking pictures with him the day of 010621. Did you think the evil that was unleashed was going to happen? You walked around that Capitol building. It was almost like you were buddies with some of these guys. Like, I kind of enjoyed taking
the Capitol?
Yeah.
Well, and that's because I offered to help them.
Okay.
When I walked up to the cops and I saw there were people in the Senate chamber when I was singing my shamanic song in the upper terrace of the Senate chamber, I said to the cops, I said, hey, there's people down there. If you want, I can help you clear the room, stop vandalism, violence, and theft and stuff like that. They're like, yeah, come on, let's go. So that's why we were walking around, because I volunteered to help.
Okay. So did you think, though, that when you left that evening, or whatever time you left the Capitol building, what did you think? What did you think might happen?
I thought maybe misdemeanor charges might find their way to me, because my image was everywhere. By the time I exited the building, I was in the building for maybe 40 minutes. By the time I exited the building, I'd already gone viral on Twitter.
Okay.
People were coming up to me with their phones. They're like, bro, you went viral.
Well, I'd seen you before. I'd seen you at other rallies before. I knew exactly who you were when I saw you that day. Talk about when they went after you.
Well,
when they decided to prosecute you, what was your thought? I'm just going to let them do this, and I'll just be a political prisoner martyr, or what was your thought? I mean, you did fight the charges, right?
At first, look. It's quite a disturbing thing to know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that this government, if they want to, can kidnap you and lock you in a cage for an indefinite amount of time.
Yes.
Okay? That's a very disturbing thing. And the fact that can be done and there will be people in the country that cheer it on is also a very disturbing thing. My whole life got turned upside down after January 6th. Not only did my phone number go public, so I started getting a bunch of weird phone calls and media calls and, weird voicemails and text messages, but all my social media got shut down with the exception of Rumble. And the FBI was looking for me. When I found out that, I knew they were going to kick my door in if I didn't turn myself in, so I just called them. I called the FBI and I was like, yo, I heard y'all were looking for me. What's up, And I red-pilled the guy I was on the phone with, the special agent, FBI agent, red-pilled him for an hour, and then I set up a time to meet with him on the 9th of January when I got back to Phoenix. They said they weren't going to arrest me. I asked him, I said, look, I'll show up. Just tell me I need to get my affairs in order. Are you going to arrest me or not? And they're like, oh, no, we don't see a reason to arrest you. You know, we just want to talk. We just want answers, you know, for some of these questions. I said, okay, sure. Show up. Read my Miranda rights.
Right then and there.
Well, kind of. They took me into an interrogation room, and they're like, all right, well, you have the right to remain silent. You know, and I was like, oh, you know.
So ultimately, you, like so many people, they offered you a deal, and you went like, okay, yeah, I'll take it.
Well, kind of. At first, we tried fighting it.
Right.
But I came to find that Sun Tzu was very wise when he said, never fight a battle you know you cannot win. He was also very wise when he said, do not fight a battle in the rain, uphill, or at night. And a trial in D.C. is a battle in the rain, uphill, and at night.
Especially in that court.
That's what I'm saying. It's a big. Fighting a battle you can't win. So I knew the only way out was through. It's like boot camp. The only way out is through. You know what I'm saying?
Do you know who else told me that exact same thing?
Who?
Owen Schroyer.
Ah.
Owen told me, I figured it out, that he's a Mike. He called me Mr. Church. He goes, Mr. Church, I figured it out in my own mind that the only way I was going to get out of this was to go through it. So I just let him do. I just said, okay, do what you got to do, basically.
Yep.
And then went and served. Did Congressman Gomer, Gomer, Getz, and Taylor Greene, all three, did you know they were...
Gosar?
No.
I don't know Gomer.
Okay, Louis Gomer of Texas,
no.
Marjorie Taylor Greene,
I know her.
Matt Gaetz.
I'm not a fan.
Okay, but they were all three trying to get into C.
Well, no, Gosar was trying to see me. I know that for sure.
Okay.
And MTG, both of them went at the same time, I think, and they were told to go around back and that they would be let in. They stayed there for 3 hours.
Never let him in.
Never let him in. Matt Gaetz is a shill and a liar. The last time I was here at AmFest, I tried to talk to him. I didn't even want a picture with him. I just wanted to talk to him. And he avoided me. He saw me. He avoided me. He looked me right in the eye 3 times. He avoided me. And then 20 minutes later, he went out on stage and started talking about the plight of January 6ers and how we need to get people out of jail and how wrong this is. Yeah, Matt Gaetz is full of shit, dude. I don't have any respect for that man.
I completely understand that. Tell people then, okay, you were, 6 months you were incarcerated? How long did
I was incarcerated for 27. 10 and a half months in solitary.
So when are you going to sue? When do you sue? Or will you?
That's the thing. If and when the government is proven to have malevolent intent, whether it be through paperwork like emails or other records, that they either suppress the evidence that Tucker Carlson aired, like if the J6 committee had that evidence and there's evidence that they sent emails back and forth, we can't let this get out, I can sue the government.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
But other than that, you're likely, when it comes to suing even the media for defamation or something, you have to prove malevolent intent, you have to prove corruption, you have to prove you were targeted unfairly. The only way that's going to happen is if we can subpoena emails, or if these things get released, or if there's documentation that gets. So I'm not, and here's the other thing you got to remember, anybody that sues the government, even if they win, they lose, because then they're going to get audited every year, the government's going to try to plant drugs on them, their family won't be able to get a job, you know. So my thing is what really matters to me is reversing the narrative and helping people to understand they're being lied to in mass, and have been being lied to in mass for decades.
So you obviously you wouldn't have seen this because you would have been in jail. There was video that was out there of this guy Ray Epps.
I know about Ray Epps.
Okay, in your take, is that legit? Is he an FBI plant?
I don't know. He definitely has all of the hallmarks of that,
okay,
of a confidential informant, especially the kid gloves he was treated with in the media, and the way the government treated him with kid gloves in their litigation proceedings.
Right.
So, clearly there's something going on there. And from what I understand, Ray Epps also testified in an Oath Keepers trial here in Arizona several years ago as a confidential informant. So, once a Fed, always a Fed, in my opinion.
CHS, confidential human source, they call them these days. All right, Jacob Chansley, look at that camera right there and tell the people that are out there watching right now in America, tell them what you want to tell them about 010621 and about this government.
It was a deep state setup. that turned into a deep state psyop to target Trump and his supporters, to try to get Trump off the ballot and to make Trump's supporters who want to save America seem like violent, crazy extremists. It was a psyop that was the setup was intended to stop the debate regarding the certification, not stop the certification. It was to stop the debate regarding the certification because they did not want the evidence to be televised on national television. That's why the pipe bomber thing was there, because if the riot didn't work, they were going to go with the pipe bomber as a reason to evacuate the building, stop the debate, and then everybody was going to come back outraged, and then they were going to certify the election. It's a setup that turned into a psyop, all for political gain.
Everybody, I agree. Hey, I have a radio show, and I agree, and I said pretty much the same thing, that what was going, everyone forgets that at 2:11 p.m. on the afternoon of 010621, the United States Senate was about to hear his first witness. In the House of Representatives, they were standing by, right, because the electoral votes go from one house to the other. Pence would have been the one to open the envelopes and start reading the. If a member of the United States Senate would have raised his hand, part of parliamentary procedure, this is what would have triggered then. Well, I don't think we should certify. Don't forget, they were terrified that was not going to be certified that day, and everyone has forgotten, the timing of 010621. Gee, you think? Right?
If you look at the patterns of what are called regime change,
yes,
and you see that our government has basically become expert level at regime change, then it's clear what we were dealing with in 2020 was regime change, and that J6 was a part of that regime change.
It's like George Carlin says with the bombs. Can't make a VCR worth a blank. Can't make education to our young people, healthcare to our old people, but we can bomb the shit out of your country, all right.
And another good thing, because I have to do another interview,
okay.
And another good thing to end this on, George Carlin quote, "You don't need a conspiracy when you have a confluence of mutual interests."
Jacob Chansley, thank you. Pat, could you get a picture of me and Jacob real quick before he rolls on out? I'm going to send you back to the studio, guys. Mike Church here live, Crusade Radio Network at America Fest West.